Oh my goodness. Maybe I is streaming. Dooby dooby doo. Let's go to YouTube real quick because we are dual streaming. What is it? YouTube Studio. I have to set the little child setting thing, the safety part. I also have to check that the description is correct because sometimes it screws that up. Ooh, I is live over there. I need to do the kids setting. Saved. Bam, saved. Cool. Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Can I go see it? Okay. Let's do a sound check too over on the place of the thing. Yep. Looks okay. All right. Neato. Boink. Okay. So, what we are doing today is probably going to be helped if I screen share. Let's see here. Yep, it's that one. Ta-da! And I'll push that over there, and I'll push myself over into the Kona so that you can see stuff. And we will get this going. So, subject of today is something that I tried to do like 2 weeks ago and didn't quite get around to because I was playing with the idea still, which is there we go. Having Gaju Desk, well, not just Gaju Desk, but any Gaju Desk is a good example, but any program that uses Hakuzaru to put source code onto the chain should do that in a compressed way because storage space on chain is extremely expensive, and you have to keep stuff forever. Well, you kind of have to keep stuff forever. We do have lifetimes, but anyway. Blank. Okay. And did I change anything in there? Oh, I did. Yeah, I changed the argument stuff all around. A whole bunch. So what we'll look at is let's whenever I do this lives argument when I'm doing ZX run, so two things: ZXH run. ZX run gives me, it just runs a program. ZXH run gives me the head, so I have that the Erlang runtime available. So I can call all the functions that are in scope from the shell right then. What the lib switch on ZX does is it lets me use any dependency. If we ZX list deps. So these are the dependencies of this project of Gaju Desk. Hakuzaru is one of them. And if I, in the dependency list, if I do ZXH run local and then I do libs equals Hakuzaru, and then I point it somewhere else, like a adjacent directory, it will not pull the package from Zomp. It will just use whatever I'm pointing it at. So we've got this customized. That way, if you have like a dependency that you have to update to get the update that you're doing, if you're coding with dependencies like that, in this case we are. Hakuzaru is being used by Gaju Desk. We have been working on Hakuzaru to enable a feature of Gaju Desk, so they've both been edited at the same time. So I'm replacing this unpublished dependency, Hakuzaru, with like this customized version, and we're gonna push Hakuzaru, and then we're going to be able to push Gajudesk, and then they'll all work. So for the meantime, though, this is how we have to go about starting things up. So we're gonna not mainnet. I want the testnet one. So in this, they all do have. Oh, also, I'm being scatterbrained. I believe I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Dimitar got the faucet working, and if that's true, we can find out. Faucet. I think this is up. It is cool. Okay, so that's super cool. So let's give Alice 10 Gajus and see. That should work. Hello. Oh, it did. Okay. So this is like on a 10-second delay. It clicks over. On chain, this stuff happens like instantly, but this doesn't see it right away because it takes a little while to do the requests in the background. But anyway, let's see. So let's make a really simple contract. So Hakuzaru deploys source code to the chain when you deploy a contract. That's really useful because that means you can, like, if you've seen any of these development videos, like if I go to Gajumaru and I pull up a sales contract address, because the source is on chain. Now these are all cloned, but it doesn't matter. The source is still on chain. If I open, instead of from file, if I open from hash, it will ask the chain, hey, what contract source lives at that hash? And boom, I get it, right? So cool. That's nice. Right? So what I want to do, though, is make a new thing and simplest.aes. So we have the simplest thing possible. Well, maybe the simplest thing possible. We're just going to do a very, very simple counter type contract real quick. It is just compiler. I think it's that. We'll find out immediately if this is wrong. Oh, wait, it's not payable. It's just contract sales off. No. Counter. Record state. Okay, so these are in Sophie, everything's typed. So like the counter needs not init, an int. I'm just mistyping. We're going to take a counter to start with. It's an integer and state, and the way we're going to do that is the state counter will be set to the value of this counter, right? We'll have an increment function. It will return an integer. It's going to let new count equal, I think that's right. Oh, +1. And then we'll put into state I think that's right. And then new count will be the return value, and then public. Can I? Okay, so I haven't really used this as an editing interface for much. So I'm going to see how copy paste works. Oh, that's awesome. So decrement, let's do -1, and then public entry point. It's not stateful because we're just going to get the value. Okay. That's like the simplest contract you could possibly do, right? So let's try and deploy this. Okay, had trouble compiling it probably. Where's my thing? Error. Okay. Unexpected identifier state. 21.5. Oh, I didn't have an equal sign. Ta-da! Okay, cool. So let's initialize that to 0. We will deploy that. It's not yet mined. Bam. Okay, so the contract's on chain. Let's dry run value 0. We get 0. Let's dry run increment. Let's dry run decrement. Oh, cool. But the value is still 0, right? Now, let's call on chain to increment this. Okay, so that transaction went through. We're going to dry run it. It should say 1 now. Awesome. Okay, so this works. Now, the ugly part of this is that simplest AES is how big? Oh, I want to see the size. Okay, it's 467 bytes. Now, what happens over here? I haven't, so this is the Erlang shell, right? I can like type stuff in here, like 1 plus or 1 times 2. I can, you know, I can get Erlang functions to happen here. So let's do, that's a big, whatever. File, read file. Are it? Oh, because I am only one directory above it. There we go. So simplest bytes. If I do IO format, I have to spell it right. Okay, so we get the contract that I just wrote because we opened the file that I just saved, right? This is all fairly simple, right? I wrote a thing, I saved it in a file. It is, on disk. And that's that. There's nothing else really to it. Doink, that's gone. So byte size 467, which is what we saw over here. So it's 467 bytes. Now, what was the interface for? Ooh, do we still have a copy of the sales contract? We should. Priv contracts, sales contract. That's one that we've been playing with a lot lately. So that's 9K. So let's open that too. Oh, read file. Okay, and byte size. Okay, now we have a couple of compression options. We have we have access to zlib, which is straight compression. Then we also have access to arrow tar, which can tar up a whole thing, and I think we also have the gzip library, something like that. So one problem is that storage is expensive on chain, so we want to compress everything, get it really tiny. But just to get some idea how tiny, I think it might be kind of fun too. Let's see. There's actually let me open this over here so that everybody can see. If I can find the browser window, there we go. So I need to get the newer docs up. I don't like the new docs on Erlang.org. They really like screwed up lately. They put a bunch of stupid syntax into the language. They just randomly started adding keywords to an existing language. That's a really bad idea. A bunch of other stupid stuff. There's this like belief amongst, I don't know, silly people who think that like Erlang's adoption problem is that it doesn't have cool syntax. Erlang was fully buzzword compliant before the buzzwords were around. That's not the problem. The problem is like the tooling. That's why I use stuff like ZX, because it's so much better than doing the rebar crap. Like rebar's good if you need to do releases, but we're not deploying to like a phone switch that's in the middle of like, it's like on a stick next to a glacier. We are deploying to full-blown systems, and we do client-side code, and we're doing GUIs and shit. Like, you don't want to do releases for that stuff. You want to have things be snappy, and it makes your developers go to sleep when they have to wait for shit. So it's dumb. Anyway, along with that kind of dumbness, they've like kind of screwed up the docs. Navigation on docs is stupid. They're using an Elixir build thing to make Erlang docs, which is kind of like a cardinal sin in a language, right? Be dog fooding a little more, but whatever. Silly people. What we're going to look at is here. Oh, we have zip. Okay, so we have zip available, which is like, that's okay. That's old school. We have arrow tar, which is like much more sort of Unixy tar stuff. This is actually how ZX works internally. It packages up whole projects, compresses them, and that's what's in the ZSP. It's a tar file. Well, it's a tar file with some signature stuff. It's like a preamble. Is the difference between the inner tar and the ZSP. So it's a signed bundle. And then I think there's also zlib, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, that's zip. And then I want to say it's like there it is. See, so there's zlib also. So we got zlib, we have arrow tar, and we have zip available. All three of these. To resemble arrow tar. Okay. So what's the difference between these? I don't actually know. zlib. This module provides an API for the zlib library used to compress and decompress data. Okay. And all functions, errors, exit, reason, backtrace can be thrown. Thrown. Okay, it's not a return, it's a throw, where reason describes the error. Okay. So we would want to pinch that guy. I guess this runs as a port or something, so it'd be like if it dies, then it's exiting. Don't know why that's a throw instead of a return, but whatever. Z-stream, flush, mem level, method, strategy. What? Okay. You can specify the strategy. This is okay. This is in zlib, not zip. So in zip, I want to make like a zipped version, a tarred version, and a zlib compressed version, which I think should be like the same of these two. Let's see. Deflate. Okay. What's flush? What's Z flush? None sync full fit. Oh, okay. That sounds like a flush rule. Compresses as much data as possible and stops the input buffer becomes empty. It can introduce some. All right. And IO data is the thing. As opposed to it being a file handler or something. So, okay. Gunzip and gzip. Gzip data. That's okay. That seems really simple. What is going on here? Ouch. That didn't feel good. So we don't need Unicode in file names today. What we actually would want is probably to have. So there's two problems I want to solve. One is I want to solve the compression problem. The other thing is I want to solve the problem where deploying contract source to the chain means that you are not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, you're going to be deploying like whole projects. And that means there's going to be support contracts, there's going to be includes, like whatever kind of weird stuff may have gone into the build environment necessary to get the contract out. And you'd like to get all that back so you could exactly rebuild the on-chain bytecode artifact and then compare those two to validate that you definitely have the source that made that contract that corresponds, to that one for one. So that being the case, having an archive format instead of just compressing one file and putting it on, that's insufficient. We need to compress the project and put it on chain. But to start with, single files is what we're doing now, and we can continue to do that, but also do compression and leave the door open for a de facto standard way to handle a multi-file environment. So I want to make this update to Hakuzaru so that it can do the single file case as it does right now, but then also without additional changes to Hakuzaru, make it possible for Gajudesk to then, kind of advance its state of the art a little bit and be able to do full projects, like full project deployment as archives. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Don't know if I'll get there today. Don't have a whole lot of time today. I got started really late. I had like all this other stuff going on. Anyway, Eraltar. Let's do the zip one. The zip was like so simple. Let's just see what happens to the data that we've got. Where's my code thing? There we go. So sales contract is what I've got the junk in. So we're just going to do, what was it? Zip? Yeah. So just zip. It is zip. 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 Let's assign it to something. Sales contract zip. What? Oh, no. Oh, okay. I've got the wrong one. It's zlib that's got the simple command. GZ zlib gzip. Okay, so byte size. Okay, so that is way smaller. 9468 divided by 2199 is what? So that's a pretty good compression ratio. Fortunately, source code does compress nicely. What is the zip? Ooh, file list. So what's in the options here? Create. Okay, so zip and create are the same. Okay, because it's trying to sort of mimic the Arreltar interface over the zip library. That makes sense. Okay. The create option is to have it in memory. Well, which we would want in memory. And then what's the extension spec? What are the extensions? Oh man, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Wow, okay. List directory archive. List direct. Okay, options are what? Options, option, and option can only be cooked. That's kind of a circuitous way to tell us what's going on with that. Okay, file list, file specs. File spec can be, okay, so the file spec can be a file name and a binary, so you can just like do it right there. That's pretty cool. So name is what? The file name. Does it have to write it on disk, or can I do this in memory? Create option is memory? Maybe I can do that. Let's try that. That looks cool. Zip. Let's see. Sales contract zip. We're gonna try this. Zip create sales. What was it? File list is a list of tuple blahs. What's file info? Part of the file, whatever. I don't care. That's probably like, maybe rewrite permissions, access time, modify time, stuff like that. Who knows? Don't really care right now. What I want to do is sales contract 1 AES. So this is as it was on disk. This was the name. And then we're going to do sales contract there. And then we're going to provide some options. So one of the create options I want is memory. I think this will just make it in memory. Maybe it'll tell me. Cooked verbose memory. The output is not to a file, but instead as tuple file name binary. The binary is full zip archive with a header and can be structured. Okay, awesome. So that's perfect. This is ideal. Can I do that with tar too? I haven't done tar in so long. Like I made CX work with tar, and then like it works fine, and I never look at it again. Can I create with a memory option with tar? No, I can't. That sucks. Okay, whatever. We can do this here. Memory. Cooked. Don't care about that stuff. So memory. Do I need a compress what? I don't think we need that. Compress what? Compress. Okay. Defaults to all. Sure. Okay. Only with these extensions. Okay. So we just don't need to add that option. We just need the memory option. It looks like. And are we RD3? We are. Let's give that a try. Now let's byte size zip. Oh, look at that. See, so I did, I've got okay. This returned okay, and then it returned this tuple, which is what I need to do here is match that. So I need to get, so we're going to dump this guy. Bye-bye. What we need to do is match that. We don't care what the name is there. Boom, boom. That gets us the binary. Now, byte size that is 25. Okay, so GZ is actually a little bit better than zip at compression. So let's make a little comparison function here. A, B, and it will be byte. Byte size A divided by byte size B. And we're going to compare sales contract to sales contract GZ. And then we're going to compare sales contract to sales contract zip. And just, whoa, look at that crap. That didn't work at all. What's going on here? Why? That's kind of awesome. Oh, because okay, so there's a capital C and this is a lowercase c. You see that? That typo changed things significantly. So anyway, with that, so in the Erlang shell, what C does is it recompiles a module, and it's got some funky other stuff you can do. That's not a thing that's going to work in here. Anyway, so C, I was using C as a alias for compare, and the capital C versus lowercase c just tripped me up because I'm a silly person. So anyway, GZ gets a higher ratio than zip. It's not insignificant either. So okay, we can just go with that. Let's look at Erltar. Oh, it's a little frustrating that we can't create in memory like that. I wonder what I did in I haven't read the ZSP handling code in ZX in a long time, so I have to go look to remember what I did. It's down here somewhere, I promise. ZSP. Okay. Target directory key. We get the product. Okay, metadata. So we make sure we have meta that's real. Okay, and we have the key that we're going to sign it with. And then we pack up. Okay, so we pack up all the junk in the target directory that we want here. And then, right. Okay, lister thing. And then, okay, we subtract the junk that we don't want. And then we set the directory to the target. Because tar is going to make like some crazy relative path to like, like when you unpack an archive and it goes blah, all this junk, or some like wacky path that it can't even like get to. We have to set the current working directory to the directory that we want to do the save stuff in. Update app file, sure. Here's okay, yeah. And then what do we? Modules tar gz path. File name join ZXLib path temp, which we'll use in just a second, and then we're going to make, okay. So it does that, ensures the path, ensures the directory exists, and then it creates it, then it reads it back, and then it deletes the temp file because we can't do the in-memory creation the way that the zip thing does. Okay, that's a bit of a process, isn't it? Well, we may as well give it a try. Let's see what happens when we do ZX lab path temp. Should just give us a random. Okay. Well, that's not particularly crazy. The issue with this is that it's got to work on every system. So Windows does it different, Mac does it different. Windows doesn't really even do it sometimes, and you can get directory letter madness. Also, on Windows these days, the drive might be remote, so you might have like some far distant. You might be making a temp file in Azure by mistake. So that's probably why it does that. Okay, so we're going to make a. Let's make a tar function, and it's going to be. What do we have to start from? We have the data and we have the name. Speaking of name, let's get a sales contract name. Okay, so this is the information that it would know. Oh, somebody just wrote a very nice note. Thank you, MSVN, saying, hope whatever you're working toward goes well. I hope so too. Not just on YouTube, but in life also. Wish you lots of happiness, good health, and success ahead. Well, thank you very much for that nice note. I hope that extends to everybody. We should get some more wins in life. So let's see. What should we call this? Tar is going to be a function that takes name and bytes, and it's going to temp file is going to be file name join cxlib temp path temp. Okay, and then name, and then what do we do next in here? Yeah, file I've ensured directory. Yeah, sure. And then Reltar create. Reltar create the temp. Yeah, I have to get better at typing. This is awful. Targets. How is targets denoted? I think it was the same way. I think the file list was the name in archive and then file name all. Sure. Okay. Oh, wait. File name, or name in archive, file name all. Or be specified as binaries. In this one, was it already read in? No, we just had the file. Okay, so this built up a target list and then read everything off disk and made it. It didn't read the things ahead of time. Is this spec accurate? Creates a tar file and archives the files whose names are specified in file list into it. The files can either be read from disk or be specified as binaries. Create option. Options is create option. Well, how are they specified as binaries in this case? Regardless, what we can do is in Gajudesk, we can make it so that it is saved to disk, and then we can read from the source location, which would be what we have a name. No, we don't. What we have then is a path. We have a path. We don't have bytes yet. Oh, no. Okay. We're going to have to break this up. So we've got a path. We're going to have to get the file name out of it. And that's going to kind of suck, but we're going to make it work. I think file names in this day it is here. Abs name base. I don't ever remember which ones. Base name, I think, is the one that we want. Foo, yeah, foo. Okay, so base name is the one that we want. Name, file. So if we do a path, so again, we get back to this problem where we have the single file case and we have the archive case. And I don't really want to write two different cases if I can avoid it. So let's just get this procedure to work, and then we will. Yeah. So we'll just do the single case right now. And go back. What was this? I can like rip these off. Yeah. Targets. We only got one target. Oh, we have to get to the target directory, which means I need the base dir name too. Base name, base dir. What's base directory do? Oh, it doesn't even tell me. Base name. Oh, dir name. Duh, that's what it is. Okay. Okay, so we split those apart from one another. And what we want is tar gz path. Sure. Okay. Gonna have to. Oh yeah. Okay, that's important. So we want to And then we want to, was it okay? Yeah. So what we're doing here is we're going to jump to the directory where this is at. And we need to remember the CWD. We need to remember the directory that we came from was so we can go back to it. And then, don't care about that stuff. Targets. Would the target just be the file? I think it'd just be the file. So we're going to go ahead and try to make this thing so OK equals arrow tar create tar gz path. Targets is going to be what? The file. And then I don't think, do we have to compress it? Or like, would it be good to compress it this way or compress it the way that using the GZ thing manually? I'm going to try that in a second, but for now I'm going to do compressed. I'm getting massages. Oh. Apparently Ulf is watching, and instead of saying anything in the chat there, he's saying that tab completion actually works in the file name string in the shell now. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Anyway. Oh yeah, so then reading this back from that path, let's see. Is there like an ensure deleted or no, it's not. Okay. Delete tars gz path. And then I just want the junk back from this. I think. Okay. So tar. It would be crazy if it identified. I'm sure surely this wouldn't work, but holy crap. It actually got okay. That's kind of awesome. Did all that work the first time without a typo? Really? Skeptical. Let's see what the byte size is of this tar. Oh, I'm dumb. Look at that. I didn't assign it to anything. Okay, so TGZ is that, and then can't byte size a function. Ooh, really? Okay. Sales contract zip, sales contract, what's it? GZ, the raw GZ, and then sales contract. Oh, no, not sales contract. I just called this TGZ because I'm being silly. Ooh. Okay, so that's pretty good. There's going to be like a couple of header things on there. Surely. So, but the archive approach is definitely superior. Now, if I unpack that in memory, what's it going to tell me? It's going to tell me stuff. Open, extract. What happens if I just, open type? Oh, okay. Is it just going to go blah? Oh, let's do this. Extract options. Memory. Let's do the memory one and see what happens. We're going to do open. Arrow tar. Open. And then the tar thing and then memory. Let's see what it tells us. It tells us an error. That's what. Oh, I have to wrap that in a tag. Okay. I still have to do that somewhere. Extract op. Oh, it's compressed memory. No. What am I doing wrong here? Obviously, I'm doing something silly. So open type needs to be, okay, I do have a binary. Oh, you know what I didn't do? In this here, I did not jump back to the current working directory. Just like I signed that and just went off into space. Never used it, which is not good. I should have. I wonder what the. Yeah, see, I should actually be in the Gajumaru directory. But I failed to do that. Let's redefine that real quick because I'll probably want to run this again. Well, we can just delete this and then. Okay, there we go. Now that's better. Okay. Okay, what was the tar command that I did before? Yep, cool. Did what it's supposed to. Now I opened this. Oh, I did open, not extract. That's my problem. I'm just a silly person. Arrow tar extract binary TGZ option memory. Oh, there we go. So it comes back as a list. And I can do that in memory, and I can match on. Is that a list? That's kind of cool. Now, what happens if, does it actually need the compressed option? Does it like, aha. Okay, so it does need the compressed option. All right. Well, so the one annoyance there is having to use the temp file thing once. That's kind of annoying. And it would be better if it's a random file name, like just some junk. just make some junk as like a temp file, and then, it'll be like some junk dash the actual file name .tgz, and then it'll be deleted immediately afterwards. But if something interrupts the process, it won't like have used a real file name that you would actually have cared about. That would be probably better. So anyway, erltar extract the binary, and we will have gotten that out of the source call to the chain. Is there a validator thing? Or, I mean, this is a pretty good return for trying to extract it. And if you get this, or if you barf, I shouldn't actually barf hard. What are the things that might happen here? So it's got error term, string binary. Okay, so that's the return type that we're wanting to get. So our baseline case is going to be there's just a single thing that comes out. The project case will be that a directory pops out. Now, I am a little curious. What happens is that like nested? What if it's like a whole archive? Or that was just the file name at the front, right? Oh, I guess it would just be a complete, it could be a bunch of nested names. The data wouldn't be nested. It'd be a single flat list, but the names of like the paths for each could be like arbitrary. So that makes sense. So we're going to match on the single case and behave as Gajudesk does right now in the single file case. And in the more interesting case, we can, just based on this, we can make this into a project deployer. In addition, what will be needed to make that a project deployer will be like features in Gajudesk to show it as a project with like, the step down tree of like, this is all the junk you have open in your project or whatever. And I'm not interested in doing that today at all. But this compression thing is really cool. And as I said before, the reason that I just like had to look up my old file handling code from ZX is because I wrote that erltar stuff for ZX once and it just worked really well, and I haven't had to look at it since. So this will probably be the same type thing. So where are we? Let's take a look at where we want to be. It's like, oh, contract create, that's it. Contract create. Where's the source thing? So contract create starts with a path. It does the build. It reads the source and passes that down. Okay, how does create built work? We have the compiled artifact. I think the source is in it. I'm pretty sure it's like in the map bundle. Compiled source. Yeah, okay. Maps get contract source. So this is where we want to wrap this up in a tar thingy. Do we need some file naminess? We could just call it contract for right now, but that's kind of silly. It'd be cool, actually, if you could store the name of the file. I mean, we can put the name of the file in the bundle, and then when we open it in Gajudesk, it'll know the actual name that the original author put on the file instead of just the gobbledygook. Like right now, when contracts are pulled off chain, like we deployed this, and so the deployed name is the CT blah 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 junk, right? If we know the file name, because when we pull the source off chain, we have it, we could actually label these more accurately and have it like, in brackets or whatever, blah.aas, and then this thing. Still dealing with the single file case to begin with, and then we can do projects later with the whole like project layout. So what I need to decide though is how. So contract create built. We've got the compiled artifact already when we call create built. Source options from string. Contract create built. There's a chance this might actually fail. I think that SO compiler does that return the source and the SO compiler from string? Okay, we have this stuff in source. Well, I mean, we have source strings over here, so we have. Let's I don't want the huge one. Let's do. Let's do the counter one because it's small. Okay, and then we're going to do, what was the call over here? SO compiler from string. See what this actually returns. What were the options on this? I don't remember. Options. Source. Do I have to provide the... Really? SO utils canonical. Okay. Wow. There's quite a lot of junk going on there. Okay. I almost need to write like a function around that. That's crazy. So, okay. Counter path is just going to be, will this detect? Okay, it's just always doing completion for file stuff everywhere. It's not like specially recognizing it. Yeah, don't need that. Okay, so that's the path. Make sure that we got that right. Okay, we did. And compile, I am going to make a function out of this. What is this silliness? ACI JSON. Source file path. Source directory. How did I get the source directory? SO utils canonical dir path. Okay. I don't know what all that means, but it's probably kind of projecty. And then include file systems CWD. Oh, why did I need that? Okay. SOCON. Okay, same thing. Man, that's a mouthful. Compiler from a string. Okay. Okay. So compiler from string B, and then options, and then I guess that's going to be the end of it. That just seems like so much stuff. Compile, and then what? Counter path. Okay. So this is the compiler output. Let me get the built counter. Well, counter build sounds maybe better. What? Oh, is it an OK tuple? Did I just do that? I think I just did that to myself. I did. Check that out. I totally did that. There we go. That's what I want to see. So fake code, ACI payable contract doesn't have source, which means that this would actually probably no, that would die. So we've got the source there. We're going to pass the source into here. What we need to do is put the source into the compiled map. What is this? 1078. Okay. Create build. It will have come in with that already. So what we're going to do is build is going to be maps put contract source yeah, whatever. So now that won't fail down here. Well, it wouldn't have failed before because we had a fallback thing, but it would have just been, you never would have had source, which is silly. Not the intention there. So what we would want is source. This step is going to need to be a whole new thing. Because we actually need the names and everything. Contract source. Did that have the name in it? Fake code ACI contract source. Oh, it did have contract source in it. I am wrong. No, it was in there. I'm just silly. Bytecode type info compiler version. What we need to put in there is stuff like the name. contract source coming from the compiler like that also is going to be not quite what we want, because the source coming out of the compiler is slightly different from the source that you look at. Well, potentially in the project. Does that put it all together as a single thing if you have includes? I don't know the answer to that. Okay, so let me go back up here and get my little procedure. I want my little procedure here, and I want my extract thing. I like both of those. So I'm just going to keep a hold of those for right now. This is what people use a shell for, by the way, is cheating. Okay. So these are roughly, not exactly, but these are roughly the routines that I want. But I need to carry a little bit more information about the contract in this compiled, in this process here. So we're doing a single path here, a single read path. Okay, which means basically we're going to be able to, for the moment, just handle one file at a time. Can't do project sec. So doing proper project handling is actually going to require a little bit of an update to Hakuzaru, not in the decompression or compression part, but in the packing part. It's like contract create, whether you give it a directory as a target or you give it a source file as a target, which means it's going to have to be a little bit more. This may be a Gaju desk thing, not a Hakuzaru thing, actually. Something about this is going to have to change regardless, because like this is only handling one file at a time. And the include stuff down here, I'm pretty sure that's just sort of stubbed out to make it work at all. I imagine that is probably some kind of project-y that's probably aimed at making it possible to do large projects and not really being used right now. So regardless which way I do things right now, we're going to have to come back to Hakuzaru. Like we can get the single file case done today now, but we're going to have to come back and revisit this to do full projects. And that means that Gaju Desk is just going to have to grow some. This will be one more time where Hakuzaru is going to be kind of like grow up a little bit as Gaju Desk grows up as well. Which also answers another question. What version of Hakuzaru to call this? So we're going to call this 0.9 because we have a known feature that we know we have to add that could have some sort of breaking implications for how the library is called. So it's better to do that without making interface promises yet. Maybe doing full project. We just don't care yet. So we'll put this at 0.9. I need to get the mobile wallet out as soon as possible. So that will be a huge focus for a while, is getting the mobile wallet out. And then after that, we can go back and revisit like large contract projects as opposed to, roughly single file projects. Until Dimitar suddenly needs this yesterday and he'll be freaking out and be like, give me this feature. You said projects. I wish I had projects. Which is like that's a really good impetus. I mean, someone's using your tool. It's not that, so people, I say that in a funny voice. I'm not trying to characterize that as annoying, actually. It's really good because, I mean, someone's using your stuff and your stuff was useful enough that they really need a new feature added to it. that's like the best thing that you ever hear. It's just sometimes frustrating because you're like, I finally got this done. Here's the thing, go use it. And then immediately they come back and they're like, hey, add this other thing to it too. Don't take a break. But again, the reason that they need something added to it is because the overall project is useful for them. So it should make you happy. You have to kind of maintain a little bit sometimes. Anyway, here we know the directory name and we can know the file name too, right? What did I just do? Base name, that's what it is. Okay, so what we're going to do, ooh, that's frustrating. So contract create 2, is that just internal? I think it is. I'm pretty sure that that's not. Okay, whew, good. So I can add a silly argument in here without messing myself up. I'm going to do that, and it's going to be long and silly looking, but I don't really care. Yeah, it's a lot of arguments. Okay. Compiled. What we need here is we need maps put contract name compiled, and then named, and it'll pass through the thingy. Now this is create built, which we don't yet have file names in the built artifact coming from Gajudesk, but we can definitely do that. So we're going to put a generic possible name in here. Okay. Source is going to equal a function we're going to call bundle source. And it's going to be some silly stuff like do something like case all right. Is it error? I think it's error on this. Okay, and from this point, what do I want to do? Oh, I need the map still. So here we're just going to have a, okay, name, maps get contract name from the compiled thing. Actually, oh yeah, we need to. Okay. And we should wrap that source too. That's probably the worst one. Okay. And then what is we doing? Oh, we had that weird little procedure. Oh, in the shell. What did I do? I was getting can I just get like a huge number? Okay. And then what was it? Integer. Well, R. What's RN? Yeah. Ooh, that's a big number. So integer to list base. What was it? 20 or 32? No, 36? Yeah, there we go. It's a big giant blob of crap. So we'll have our big blob of crap name. We'll literally just do this. I don't know that we have a maybe there's a different random string thing. I don't know. Don't really care. 8's probably sufficient. 8 full bytes. It's pretty huge, actually. And then can I do integer to binary directly? I think I can. Yeah, cool. Wolf is writing another recommendation. Another novelty for us graybirds to adapt to. You can now define an interpreted function in the shell just by declaring it. Doesn't have to be a fun. Oh, that's neat. So it can be lowercase, basically. That's kind of cool. Cool. That's neat. So I can just write functions in the shell instead of, so it's more Lispy. But that's neat. I didn't know that. So what do I want to call this thing? Going to be prefix. Whoa, not that. I want the underscore version. And then let me refer to my silly notes here. I'm going to copy this in and get back. file. Okay, we already have the name. Did we ever use a directory? Oh, we kind of did. This should really be part of the build step. When we make the sourced thing. It's kind of gnarly doing it in here, given that all the information to do it with was at the prior step. Yeah, that's a cool recommendation, Ulf. The what he just showed me is this neat little. See if I can get a screenshot of this. This thing here. Where's my other Shelly bits? Whoa, it's huge. So this is his little mention here. He's saying you can now define an interpreted function just by declaring it. It doesn't have to be a function. You can do that. And so you can just write your stuff. It's more Lispy now. It's pretty neat. A rare win. Yeah, so the path stuff, we're going to have to make up a path, basically. So we're going to have to do in fact, this is going to be like we're going to do rand. I'm not going to change the file name. We're going to get the temp is going to be zx lib path temp, and then okay, and then we're going to do let's do temp file. Let's join all this all up at once. Okay, now we can do tempter from temp path, and then tar gz path is going to be tempter Okay. Right. And we're going to have to. Yeah, we don't actually. Okay, wait. We don't actually need that at all. I'm just being silly. I'm thinking like we've got the project somewhere. We don't. I'm just being silly. We already have a tempter, which is this. The tar GZ path is going to be the tempter. And the file name. Okay, yeah, so I do want this. There we go. Name. Does this have a hash already? Nope. Okay. I think we could like hash the source maybe. Maybe we could. What happens if I... Don't know which hash I would want to use. There's so many in the project. Anyway, whatever. Contract AS is fine for now because it's going to be with the blob, the random blob in front of it. Should be more descriptive. TGC name is better. We don't want to like mix it up. Okay. TarGZ path. How did I define file in this originally? Oh, okay, because we had that. Now the one that we were able to pass this in as a binary. I believe. Create 3 file lists. Oh, we didn't actually determine how to do that. So I got to write this once first. So it's just the one file. Oh, I do need to put that in a directory then. Ah, crap. Okay, I thought I was able to just do, well, whatever. So we'll make a little temporary directory out of that. Tempter file. We're in the thing. Write the file. There's the path. File. What was the file operation for deleting a directory? It was like deldir or something like that. Delete dir. Okay, delete dir r. Oh, I don't have to do that anymore. Yay. We used to have to actually write our own recursive thing. So, okay. Basically, file is always junk. Project not compiled. Okay. Got a random blob of shit. Okay. Make a temporary directory there. Okay, then we're going to make sure that the path, the directory temp exists. Get the current directory. Go to the temp directory. Write the file so it exists. Then do the, okay, create, put the file that we just wrote into a TGZ, compressed. Read the TGZ that we just made. Go back to where we were at. Then delete the tempter and then return the bin. Whew, that's a circus. Okay. But that should work every time. So we're going to move this down just one phrase. Make sure I've got, yep, there we go. Okay. I should have put this all snaggletooth right in the middle of like this to make Jarvis really happy when he reads this next time. He'd go, ah, my eyes are bleeding. I don't know, he might not care. He's seen plenty of ugly code before. Anyway, so that we are now going to bundle this up in a tar archive, which for now we don't care about the fact that it's an archive. We're doing single files, but we're preparing to do full-blown like project deployments instead of single files, which is cool. And then we have a contract source function, which needs to do more now. We're going to have to call contract source 2 with the source and find out if it's compressed. Maybe tar. Sounds like tar baby. I might call that a tar baby. I'm going to call it a tar baby because I think it's funny. And nobody's going to read this but me, like, ever again. So we're going to, what do we do? What are we doing? Aryl tar extract tar baby. Extract. Oh, what did that return? I don't even remember. It was in here somewhere. It's still in memory. I just gotta like find wherever I did that. This was a little bit ridiculous. You need this many call args to call a compiler to build a, like, come on, really? Okay, what did it give us back? It gave us, okay, right. It gave us the okay tuple with a single L. Okay, that's what we're going to match on. I just jumped all the way across everything I have open because I'm dumb. It was another tab. So if it's this, contract name, source, then do something. If it's okay project, then you go, oh crap. And if it's error, like of any kind, but I kind of want to know, I'm gonna have to go to a meeting a little bit, but I would want to know, like, I'm gonna throw a bunch of crazy situations at this, and I'm gonna want it to like print what's going on. Other, then I'm gonna have it tell. So basically, if we get a project, if we get a single file back, we're going to behave. See, we're going to change the return type. What we actually want is okay bytecode or we kind of want to just return the output of Arreltar extract, actually. And for right now, the receiving program, like the caller should, the burden's kind of on the caller because they're going to have to return a unique type back regardless. In other words, if our Arreltar extract thing doesn't work, then they're doing something different. Or it's an old school pull and we're just going to get the same stuff back. So what you kind of want is just, because I can't think of it. I mean, I could wrap this up in okay contract source, right, and go back. But then what I actually want on the calling side is I want to do that thing where like, where was it? I want this to actually show the contract source name and then also have the, like this deal, the hash, both of them. But I wanted to show the file name if we know the file name. So, which puts the burden on the caller to like match all this stuff out and do it properly. And I don't really see a better way. Than to just hand the output of Arreltar extract back, actually. like no contract source 2, just arrow tar extract. Well, I might wrap this up in extract just because it's like gnarly. I want people to be able to read this and go, oh, something's being extracted. I don't know how, but then they can look at the extraction method and just go, oh, that's how. Okay. Instead of it being this big blob of crap. Okay. I think that's all we're going to do. That should. Oh, no. It won't. Oh, I am wrong. I is wrong. Because in the error case, what you actually want to get back is you want to get the tar baby back. So if it's okay, then you want to get actually, I don't know what the other stuff might be. Is it just an error tuple? I think it is just an error tuple. Which one am I looking at? Not file. Oh, that's why. I'm in the wrong spot. Create extract. Extract can return. It'll return okay that or error term. Okay. Error. And this should just be like, okay, project. Otherwise, okay, so if it extracts, it extracts. If it doesn't, then we give the original. Oh, we give the tar baby back. That's right. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We do actually need another clause. Because if we just return the error tuple, we lose whatever the thing was, and if it was plain text source, then it's gone. So, yeah, that should be enough. Should be enough. We'll see. Anyway, that's going to be something interesting to play with this later. This evening-ish. And I believe I already versioned this stuff up. Yes, I did to 9.0. So we're at 9.0 for Hakuzaru. That's this is going to be a work in progress commit. I don't think I added anything, but we'll make sure. Okay, yeah. It's just going to be work in progress. Put that up into thingy. And that's that. Where is my deal here? I'm going to play with that later. I have got to get ready for a meeting in 10 minutes. So that's all. That's all for today. You guys take care. Have a good weekend.